How's it going, everybody? Odyssey64 here, and if you clicked on this video, then by chance you probably know what Friday Night Funkin' is. And for those of you who don't know, it is a very popular indie game made by some developers at Newgrounds. Basically, as it's sort of like a project they've been doing, and from what everyone can tell with how this game looks, it's going along pretty well. And I mean, that's basically it. There's so far only about 7 weeks. Is what I would say if there wasn't a huge amount of mods available that you can just download and basically play to your own leisure. And although I have never actually played the game, I have spent a lot of time just listening to some of the songs in it, and there's a lot of really good songs. And that's what we're going to be tackling today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go through my top 10 favorite Friday Night Funkin' songs in basically all of the mods, which is a lot, and there are a lot of mods. But before we get started, I just want to put down like 3 simple rules to this list. Number 1, I'm only going to be doing mods. I'm not going to be putting in any songs from the original 1 through 7 weeks, just to keep things a little bit more on the fair side, because we all know that week 7 is the best week, and second to that is like whichever one Mommy Mearson. I think it's like week 5, I believe, yeah. Number 2, I will only be doing 1 song from a mod. I'm not going to set like the whole collection of songs as a part of the list, and I'm only going to have 1 song from the mod on the official list, with an exception being in an honorable mentions, obviously. And then the third and final one, I will not be linking these mods to the stories behind them as to how they're made or something, but I may comment on them as sort of like an extra touch, but those have nothing to do with the placement of the mod in the list. Because, like, for example, if one of them, like, if the song for one is really good, but it has barely any story, that's still going to trump a mod that I don't find is as good, but the story behind it is really good. And I'm pretty sure that is it for all I need for rules behind this. So if you guys do enjoy my video and other content, definitely make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. With that being said, without any further ado, let's get into the first song. Alright, coming at number 10 on the list is the song Monochrome from Friday Night Funkin', the Lullaby mod. And the reason why this one is at number 10 on my favorites list is because of how literally bone-chilling it is. Like, it's like, it brings such a sense of like dread and sadness, dread, sadness, and terror, mainly because there's a little jump scare in it, but it's not as bad as some other ones, but it is still there, so it is kind of annoying for those of us who just want to listen to the song and not necessarily be like jump scared if we're like listening to it at night or something. But either way, like, I'm pretty sure this is the trainer gold. And, like, I won't go into, like, the whole creepypasta of how this mod goes, but to put it simply, because, like, there's technically 2 versions. There's this one on here, and then there's another one that I'm going to mention a little bit later. So, basically, there's basically 2 versions. There's this one, which is, like, definitely the darker version, but then if you want one that's, like, a little bit more festive sounding, but honestly more terrifying, I definitely recommend the Mount Silver version, because there isn't any jump scare, and it's honestly more terrifying as he's just reaching out for help as well. Like, it's so terrifying, but the song like really signifies that, so that is why this song is at number 10. Alright, coming at number 9 on the list is Here We Go from Friday Night Funkin's collaboration mod with Super Mario Kart. Now, the reason why I like this mod is honestly because Boyfriend's voice really shines in it. Like, there are a lot of times in certain songs in the base game and in mods where Boyfriend's voice kind of gets like overshadowed by like the opponent. But this one is a lot different because Mario's voice clips are basically just like sound effects, and Boyfriend's just like, he really takes the cake with this one. Plus, and also, again, I'll say, like, the animations during are, like, really well done. I mean, like, it literally looks like it's a race, though, but the thing is, though, that's kind of sad, is that I haven't heard anything else about this one, and this is just a demo. So, Here We Go is definitely a really nice, chill one to listen to, especially with Boyfriend's voice. Again, he definitely takes the cake with this one. Alright, coming at number 8 is Palace Raid from the Friday Night Funkin' collaboration with Deltarune Chapter 2. And the reason why I like this one is honestly for a lot of reasons, because number 1, Palace Raid is my favorite song from Deltarune Chapter 2, and this is actually one of the main reasons why it's above Here We Go from the Mario Kart mod, is because even though Queen's voice is like more so like the laugh sound effect and different things, it honestly, like, unlike the Mario Kart one, this one actually fits. I mean, I was a little bit annoyed at it at first. I kind of wish it was something a little bit different, but over time, after listening to it a couple of times, I definitely believe that it was the right call, making like her laugh like her vocals. And Boyfriend also goes along really well with this song. And also the attention to detail with giving Boyfriend and Girlfriend like a different like color scheme and everything, with like a different skin basically, to like it fully adds into the Deltarune hype around when this mod came out. Alright, coming in at number 7 is another kind of terrifying one, Crucify from Friday Night Funkin' Fever Town. Now, honestly, I found this as a remix on iTunes, and whenever I do like look at new Friday Night Funkin' remix songs, I always try to go back to the original to see how much it pairs well, and honestly, the voice for Taki, or Tacky, whatever you call her, literally hits like a chainsaw, like what she's carrying behind her back there. Like, honestly, the vocals for her are so good in this one, and this is one of those ones that where the opponent kind of overshadows the singer, and I have no clue who these other two characters are from Fever Town. I basically only like looked at the mod just for this song. So basically, plus it's also like it's a really intense song, and a really intense section of the mod as well, where you literally have to, like, as you can see in like flashing on the screen, like tapping a button to heal, like having those kind of extra events in a song are also really good, but not necessarily necessary to have a spot on the list. So again, Crucify is, although terrifying, another really great song. Alright, nobody better at me for this next pick I have over here. So for number 6, I have Gears from the Friday Night Funkin' Legend of the 7 Weeks vs. Geno mod. And alright, I'm just gonna say this. Geno's great. I mean, his voice is literally like probably the exact same instrument that is being used in the fight against an armed boss song. Just maybe like a little bit changed a little bit, but it's great. I mean, this was actually the first Friday Night Funkin' mod I actually watched on my own time, besides my cousin showing me a couple of them. This is actually the first one that I actually got interested in, and I fell in love with it ever since. I mean, since this is technically my first one, I decided to put it at number 6, because number 5, I literally decided to call it the Gateway to Heaven for very obvious reasons. Alright, number 5 is indeed Zavodilla from Friday Night Funkin' Mid-Fight Masses. And although the one that you're seeing on screen now is like the remastered edition, where it collected every single one of the Mid-Fight Masses mods into like one complete story, this song is exactly the same, although the animations for Rub here are a little bit different. Now, this is the one that, although Gears was like the first mod I like got into the game with, this is the one that solidified what Friday Night Funkin' was for me. Like, and especially the part where like Rub just like pops off at like near the beginning of the song is literally the best part of this whole song. And I love this mod, bro. Like, everything about it is amazing. And I know I didn't base it off of story, but the whole narrative of, like, with all the characters in it, Sarv, Ruv, Seliver, and that one other girl, like, the Ruv inspired daughter and stuff is so good, but that's not the reason why it was placed so high. It's because this is the mod that literally solidified what Friday Night Funkin' was gonna be for me. Alright, number 4 is Octo Amazon from the Friday Night Funkin' versus Elite Octoling mod. Now, this mod, as a Splatoon fan, is definitely one of my favorites, again, which is why it has passed through the gate to heaven in my heart at the very least, because not only does it really capture the entire essence of Splatoon, it literally does that in every aspect. Like, the animations, the fact that Boyfriend's skin is literally like Agent 4, and the voices for each character are literally based off of Inkling and Octoling voices from the actual game. And one more thing about this that everyone can come to me about, the animations. Oh boy, the animations are literally some of the best animations I have seen, except for maybe a couple earlier on, but yeah, Octo Amazon, the entire Splatoon collaboration mod is definitely deserves its spot at number 4. Alright, coming in at number 3 is Anchored from the Friday Night Funkin' YTP YouTube Poop Invasion mod. Now, this one, I had a hard time choosing between this one and one other song because they're both so good, and that other one will show up on the honorable mentions later on. And I love, like, again, as I said with Octo Amazon, the animations really take the cake here, especially with Ouija over here. I mean, but also his voice is so good with this song. I'm like, I can't wait if and when someone does like either a remix of it or they just release the original. I will totally buy it. I mean, this is this is actually one of the newer ones I ended up watching recently, and I fell in love with it. It's so funny. It's so good. Even though I wasn't necessarily on YouTube at all during the time where this kind of like YTP stuff was actually like extremely popular. I mean, I suppose it's always popular now, even though it's kind of like an older archive thing that only people who were around kind of know. So I don't necessarily know all the memes and jokes behind it, but I still love this mod. I mean, Ouija, like, I know about the Ouija stuff, but I mean, his animations and his voice are surprisingly smooth. So again, number 3, that's the perfect spot for me to put it. Alright, number 2 is Infinite Majin from the Friday Night Funkin' versus Majin Sonic mod, and the reason why I like this one is honestly how, like, low-key it is. Like, I mean, I've heard things about how this Majin Sonic's voice sounds a lot like Senpai from one of the main games. I can totally see that, but the song is so calming, but it's also, like, kind of eerie, and that's honestly what I kind of like about it. I mean, it just pairs really well with, like, these boyfriend voice lines, and yeah, I mean, if you kind of get rid of like the excited Majin part at the end and decide to continue just with the song instead of just like interrupting it with like this craziness that goes on during it, I would definitely like this one a lot more. But it would still be number 2 compared to my number 1 though. But yeah, I love this song. Although it's eerie, it's also like shockingly calm, and that's honestly what I like. It's just like there's a really nice, delicate balance between the two. So, number 2, but not number 1. But first, before we get into the number 1, let's go over some of the honorable mentions I have on this list. Alrighty, first up on our honorable mentions is Overright from the Friday Night Funkin' Xtale collaboration by SharaX. Now, the reason why this one is an honorable mention is because, honestly, you have to kind of know the story behind Xtale in order to like really get behind this mod. I mean, anything that's like Undertale based, I mean, I'm all for. I mean, I'm a big fan of Undertale and Deltarune, but I never really invested that much time into watching the series. I mean, I got nothing against SharaX. I mean, her remixes of songs and even her original ones with like the Glitch Tale series she did, or I mean, I honestly don't really know, they did to make it a bit more universal. I mean, but that I digress. I mean, honestly, like, you kind of have to know about like the story behind Xtale in order to get behind it, and that's why although the song is good, it doesn't necessarily have that much clarity behind it if you just listen to it and never really heard or listened to or watched any of the rest of the Xtale stuff. Alright, next up on our honorable mentions is Encounter from the Friday Night Funkin' collaboration mod with the Mario and Luigi series. Now, the reason why I put this one in honorable mentions is it's because it's another one of those boyfriend vocals really shines mods, because Mario and Luigi are just doing like sound effects from their games. But this one doesn't necessarily make the cut as the Super Mario Kart one does, because Boyfriend's voice in this one honestly isn't really that good, to say the very least. So again, it's a solid song, don't get me wrong, it just doesn't hit as hard as, like, again, the Mario Kart one. Alright, this one for an honorable mention is 100% a cop-out. This is the only... this is, like, again, as I said earlier, since I'm only doing modded songs, but only one from each mod, this one I could not decide from Friday Night Funkin's Dusttail Remastered mod. Every single song in this mod is an absolute banger. Like, there's no denying it. Sure, there are some that are better than others, but at least for me, they're all relatively the same, and they're all really good. And that may be kind of the reason behind that is probably because they all sound somewhat similar. Like, they all have some aspects of either Megalovania, the song that might play when you fight Sans, and also Red Megalovania from the Dusttail Undertale AU into it, which honestly may be, like, I wouldn't say lazy, but also, like, it's kind of like going off of Toby Fox's idea of, like, motifs in his songs, which is probably why they did it. So, honestly, every single song in this is an absolute banger. Alright, next on our honorable mentions list is the song Blaster from also the Friday Night Funkin' collaboration with YTP. Now, this is the song that was just slightly below Anchored when I was going through my list of songs, because it's just as animated, if not more animated, than Anchored, and the song is also really good, especially with that little hint of, like, royal piano you can hear in the background of it. It's really faint, but it adds, like, a really nice, accented royal touch. Plus, I also have been a big fan of the Legend of Zelda memes regarding this specific game as well. I mean, like, I don't know why this whole, like, almost the entirety of the mod stuck out to me. It's just, even though I wasn't necessarily, again, watching YouTube at the time, for some reason I just knew what all of those were, and I honestly one day kind of hope that a shopkeeper version of a song similar to this definitely gets reached in the future. But anyways, this song is definitely one of my favorites. And now the final honorable mentions, we have Expurgation from Friday Night Funkin's versus Tricky mod. Now, to be honest, I only put this one as an honorable mentions because a lot of people love this mod. I personally don't really like it that much. It's a bit too chaotic for my taste, and you can't necessarily hear much of the song. But for whatever reason, it got so popular to the point that I just keep seeing it pop up over and over again. Like, people just reskin Tricky, and even Boyfriend and Girlfriend as well, with just, like, different skins or situations. Like, as you guys will see in a little bit, there's even, like, a Majin Sonic version, and I ended up losing the other two that I found, but there's also a, Sanitized Agent 3 and also Imposter Among Us version of this song, and I mean, it's an okay song. It's not necessarily what I would put here, but I honestly just put this here just to appease the people who think that this is probably the best song, because This is definitely one of the most popular ones. And with that, that concludes all of the honorable mentions. So let us now go on to the final song. And ladies and gentlemen, as you can see on screen right now, number 1 is Endless from Friday Night Funkin' versus Sonic EXE. Now, this is another one of those mods that I only really heard of from iTunes when I heard a remix of it, and it's, as you guys can see, it's my favorite song of all time. And I mean, there were definitely some close contenders, especially with number 2 on this list. And what I will say is this one is literally, it's basically the Expiration mod, but just in my opinion, just better. I mean, there's synchronization between both Majin, Sonic, and Boyfriend. The entire mod has been fleshed out, especially with the 2.0 update that came out. Like, they changed like the song and everything, and I can't decide between which one is better, the new version or the original. There have been a ton of recasts and reskins of these mods. Like, it's crazy, and this one definitely deserves like all the love and support that it gets, especially since, in my opinion, this is my favorite Friday Night Funkin' song, and it will probably be number 1 for a long time. If anything, all of these songs, if a new one comes out, will just be like shifted back one at that spot. But yeah, this one is definitely my favorite. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys did enjoy, definitely make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And now I open it up to you guys in the comments. Like, what's your favorite Friday Night Funkin' mod? What's your favorite song from that mod? And do you guys think I should play it on the channel? Because that would be definitely interesting. I wouldn't do any of the mods though, since I'm kind of inexperienced in the modding field. I've just played the original game and just like, because I mean, I know it's hard in certain situations, so I don't know, but definitely let me know especially what your recommendations are for songs as well in the comments as well. So with that being said, everybody, thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Odyssey64, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.